Welcome to your Inspirational Astrology Horoscope for Wednesday, June 19, 2013. I am astrologer David Palmer, here to illuminate the collective consciousness. Well, we have got the Sun and Jupiter in a perfect conjunction, the two biggest entities in our solar system, hanging out to bring us lots of awareness. Now, typically in astrology, you'd say that this is the most optimistic day ever, which I am an inspirational channel, so I would say yes, it is. But it is a two-part system. We are in Gemini, right? There is the twins energy. And this is also the last day of the Sun in Gemini, so we are wrapping up quite a lot here. We're wrapping up the last year and a month, as I talked about, from our last Sun-Jupiter conjunction in Taurus. So this is a new chapter opening, an old chapter closing, a big new unveiling of our awareness in our mind, our environment, to make sure our attitude is in the right place. But this is also an important moment because we have to really pay attention to what it is we are moving forward with in our lives, in our environment, in our thought processes. Jupiter is here to leave behind so much of our small thoughts, our attitudes that are very limited, and make us go without limits, to make sure that our thoughts are not stopping at any limitations, to make sure our attitudes are not stopping at any limitations, and to make sure that our environment is limitless, that it's not limited to how we think. It's not limited to how, well, especially now that feelings are really starting to wrap up to how we feel, and that's really what is coming up. But we're kind of at the crossroads of both, right? We're at the cusp now of Cancer, and you will see by next week as this event happens and everything is going to be kind of leading towards from here on, and it's going to really start to change your environment, change a lot of what you're becoming aware of in your mind. It's changing everything in our life. This is also extreme change because it is the Sun and Jupiter in mutable signs. Well, in the mutable sign of Gemini, and it's all happening at the end, and it's a powerful degree here. Things are really building for this point. I mean, we're at the endings of so much, and we have the moon today in Scorpio to add to the intensity. We have Mars squaring Chiron, which I want to talk about that, and then we'll go back to Scorpio energy. Mars squaring Chiron, Mars in Gemini. You know what? So much in the mind, a lot of things, happening. Busy energy, lots of things to think about, lots of things to ponder. Yet more importantly, we have to keep pushing forward. We could feel a little tired. We could feel a loss in some areas. And you're trying to compensate and moving forward and thinking of new things to leave. And it's this closing I talked about yesterday. It is allowing for yourself to sit in the spiritual vibrations to heal you, where we can just run away from it all and run away from spirit and run away from, the flow. We talked a lot about the flow months ago, and I do bring up the flow, but I don't know if you've noticed, I haven't been bringing up the flow. Well, the flow is being tested heavily, and even when you're got so much going on in the kids and the school and the graduation and all this crazy crap that's happening in your life, or if you're down there in Australia, it's like, oh my gosh, and I gotta get snow chains, and then that's the energy. It's so funny how it's switched on both sides of our planet, but it's so crazy because this is now a time to make sure that you are healing and not running away from that, to make sure that you're pushing forward even when you feel like you can't, to stay optimistic, to open up and see that your mind is screwing the crap out of you. And how the moon today and Saturn meet up, our emotions are intense, they're hungry, and we're gonna see, the moon and Saturn, when it meets up, we can become emotional over our limitations. We can become emotional over our frustrations. We can become very emotional over the delays in our life as we're wanting all this extreme energy and positivity and things to go. It could be like things didn't work out the way they were supposed to today. But seeing the smile and the happiness after that all happens. And I know I led you all up to this point, but it was important. Not because of how optimistic it is, even though it is, even though when you have to find optimism when you might feel like you can't. The truth is, it's the closing and the beginning of a new chapter, which we are now at the threshold of. That's the exciting energy. The exciting energy of having your mind clear and your thoughts and your awareness to see how your mind's been screwing you, or your awareness to see how your mind is trying to run away from just sitting in and going with whatever circumstances are happening in your life. And this is a grand trine starting to really form, because Jupiter and the sun are now at this threshold of the cusp, and they're within a 5 degrees. So there's this grand trine forming with a lot of planets today. So whether or not you really see it, you're gonna feel it inside, and it's how you register it attitude-wise in your mind. And if your hunger is satisfied and your needs and your wants and your desires, that will dictate how your attitude is. But you have the power to adjust it. You have the control in your life right now to change your thought. You have the power and you have the upper hand. And this is showing where you have the upper hand. Your mind is controlled by you and your soul and the flow. But whether or not you choose for the mind to run and take care of itself and run on its own operating system, when you can run the computer in auto, and it does fine in auto. Usually it doesn't work that great though. I mean, how many times have you put it in auto mode in today's technology, except in a plane, I guess? You still gotta manually wanna land that thing, and you have the manual ability to control your thoughts now, to register in your mind. And Mercury and Venus come together. There's a lot of greatness with relationships. Mercury's moved past, and Venus, is actually going, and Mercury's slowing down. I mean, it's about to go retrograde here in a week, but this is a very rare moment, a pausing moment in our lives for us to really see where we're at and to see that this is an important moment of a threshold of change coming. You will remember this little period in your life. You will remember this moment because the next moments that come after this are a completely new chapter. And I'm not just saying that because every day is different, but if you find that there have been strings attached to everything that you've been going through for the last year and a month, and those strings are being cut, especially as we're moving forward from today. But it's the awareness of all the strings coming together. It's the awareness of the events that happened in May of 2012. It's the events that have been happening for the last year to get your mind back in control from yourself. So I hope that this all registers. Please check out my website for my big webinar that I'm doing next week. It's on June 28th. It's for 2 hours, all on my website, inclusiveastrology.com. If you want a one-on-one reading with me, I am here for you. Thank you guys so much from the bottom of my Leo heart. What an amazing day. Let's push forward. Let's get ready because we're on the threshold of something big, different, and quite exciting. I love you guys, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.